What's up, y'all? Reggie here, the fitness tutor, and Seco weight loss. Seco guaranteed weight loss. I want to tell the story about how I first got into fitness. Right, my first foray or whatever into the fitness world, or into getting into fitness. And if I remember correctly, this started back in about 6th grade, which would have been around 1988. For me, if I graduated in 94 from high school, something like that. But anyway, so I was in launch, right? And this was like a club you could be in if you tested, I guess, high, or you were smart. A great way to alienate yourself. In hindsight, it's a great thing to alienate yourself from your other school and classmates or whatnot, right? Which, especially back in those days, that happened enough as it was, especially if you tested high. And anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But we had this trip, right, to Florida, Epcot Center. I think it was supposed to be Magic Kingdom too. I just was cleaning up some stuff in one of my rooms, and I found the old ticket stubs of this in a photo album. But I always have told this story. I forgot that I had those ticket stubs and a souvenir bar soap from wherever we stayed. I think it was the West End or something like that. But anyway, I'll put up a pic of that in my, I'm not editing this video, but I'll put a pic up here on, as I post this video, wherever I post it on social media. But I think something happened and we didn't go to whatever the Disneyland or Disney World or whatever it is down in Florida. And it was just Epcot and some other attractions. Still fun. I really liked Epcot Center. Now, I've never really wanted to go back to do stuff like that until recently, just kind of thinking about it. I would be more interested in going back now that I'm a little bit older or something, doing something like that. Crowds and trips and stuff like that just usually is not something that I'm interested in, but maybe it's just me getting older. But anyway, so we went on this trip, 6th grade, right? And I think it was, I know Jamie Worth. My dad went as a chaperone, right? And in our roommates, I want to say it was Jamie Worth. I don't know if it was Josh Campbell. Jamie and Josh were kind of inseparable there for a while. Maybe y'all could correct me on that. And then I want to say, was it Tim Perry or somebody else? So it was 4 of us and my dad. I just remember us joking a lot because I think my dad was down there farting. It's one of these stories we always told. And then I think we were all farting. It was something about farting. And if you know my dad, this is a very easy thing to believe, right? And he was probably like, what's that? We got a bullfrog in the room or something like that. And the guys just thought it was the funniest thing. Something, some joke or something to do with my dad down there farting, and it was just the funniest thing that we always talked about after that. But anyway, so we were down there, 3 or 4 days. And, up until this point, I'd always been kind of chunky. I was overweight. I wasn't largely overweight, but I was overweight enough to, get the jokes and get made fun of whenever it was John time or time to play the dozens, et cetera, et cetera. So, we were down there for this trip. I remember wearing the jams that came down below your knees. I remember wearing these white and whatever, bunch of other multicolor, but mainly white with some kind of spots or something all over. I just remember that for some reason. We were down there 3 or 4 days or whatever, however many it was. 3, 4, wasn't no more than that, I don't think. I came back home. I walked in the kitchen, and my mom was in the kitchen doing one of her usual, which was either cooking or doing dishes or cleaning. But I remember walking in, and first thing my mom said was, she kind of looked at me and looked at my dad, and she was like, "Who's this little boy you brought back with you?" Because I had literally lost like 15 pounds while I was down there. And being in the sun in Florida during the summerish times, I forgot exactly what time we went. I think it was summerish or something. I don't know. But walking around in Florida, I got a few shades darker. And we just thought it was the funniest thing. I didn't notice it, feel it, or anything. I don't think my dad had kind of noticed it. And you know how it is when it's gradual and, you know, it's kind of happening to you. You look in the mirror and you're like, what? But, you know, it was just one of those moments, and my mom was really kind of going on about it. You know, we laughed and joked, but she was also kind of like, hey, you know, good, get some of that weight off of you, because she was always trying to, not always, but I think she had realized, like, okay, she wanted to kind of start getting me to, you know, eat a little different, you know, try to get some weight off of me. So when that started, you know, I remember her kind of congratulating me in a roundabout way with all the kind of jokes and conversations we had about it. And I was just laughing. I was just happy. I was like, oh, I didn't even notice, you know. So that really kicked it off for me. And I'm pretty sure it was that summer that I first started trying to run for health and to get my mile time somewhere decent. I mean, you know, you're going into I'm going into 7th grade. Now, before then, you would have the presidential, you know, fitness assessments or whatever it was that was, you know, if you read about that, you know, they kind of did away with them. And I'm sure it bothered some people more than it did others. I didn't really like it. I wasn't in that great of a shape. I could do the sit-up stuff. The hang wasn't, you know, it was kind of heavy. I could do the sit-ups. I could do some of the stuff, the sit and reach. I was pretty flexible. But some of the stuff, especially that mile run, it was just like, oh. And then you'd have some of these other guys out there, guys and girls, right? And they're just out there going, phew, phew, running 6-minute something miles in 5th, 6th grade. And, you know, back in the 80s, you were just like, man, those guys are incredible or whatever. So, but I started running for my health up and down the block, you know, back there on Madison Cherokee, Madison Drive or whatever. And I remember taking, my parents had bought, I think it was Triple S. I don't know if they still make this stuff, but it was basically an iron supplement, and they didn't really have to use it. It was just one of those things they probably, somebody said, you need to watch your iron when you get above 30 or some kind of crap. Who knows what it was in the 80s, but I started basically stealing it from them. I'd take, you know, they let me have some. I'd be like, let me have some. And they were like, you don't really need any of that. It's an iron supplement, you know, it's for older people, blah, blah, blah. You get plenty of iron. So I would take it, and, you know, knowing even then what we knew, you know, it's like, hey, it's supposed to help your red blood cells, help you get more oxygen, blah, blah, blah. And it could have been a placebo effect or who knows what. But I remember I got to where I would take some of this stuff, and then I took like 3 or 4, of course, because that's what humans do, even though you're definitely not supposed to overconsume iron. But I remember taking like 3 or 4 servings of this, which was like a tablespoon. And I just remember running up and down for so long and thinking, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then I realized I didn't need it anymore. I forgot to take it or something one day, or we didn't have it or ran out. But, and then after that, it was 7th grade, and I played C-team football. And then it was pretty much a wrap after that. I played football most years after that, with the exception of maybe one, I think. I didn't play one year in JV, I think. But, you know, and then that was it. But that's kind of how it all started for me. And it's just funny to look back on it. But yeah, you know, I decided to kind of do something. But it came really, I think it really started with my mom giving me that kind of congratulations and, you know, that little bit of support, like, hey, you know, you can do it kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Even though it wasn't really a big issue. It wasn't something that it wasn't like my parents were pushing me to lose weight or something. But it was just one of those things. They were kind of like, hey, in hindsight, they were kind of like, hey, you need to stop eating so much. We need to change a little bit about what we're doing here. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, back in those days, candy bars gave you diabetes. You know, you need to cut out some of that sugar, cut out some of that soda, you know. But when that happened, it was just like, pow, man, my son can do it kind of thing, you know. And I felt proud, and then that kind of jump-started my whole foray into fitness. And you know, I don't know if it wasn't for that, if I would be as interested as I am now, or what, but who knows. But that's how it kind of got started for me. So just kind of want to tell that story. I'm finishing this video here before 10 minutes as well. It's close though. 9 minutes and 40 seconds. So anyway, we'll see y'all in the next video. I got another one I'm getting ready to do here real quick too before I go in the gym. See y'all.